In this video, we're going to talk about 7 pretty easy evidence-based things you can do to massively increase your chances of landing freelance clients consistently. After interviewing over 100 freelancers, the thing that separates people who keep getting clients from those who don't is the simple but practical actions they take every single day. But if you look closely, there are actually these 7 relatively straightforward things you can do to stack the deck in your favor. If you're already doing all 7, amazing, you're winning. If you're not doing some or any of these 7 things, then you've got some very easy wins you can apply pretty much as soon as you finish watching this video. Let's start with point number 1. 3 before lunch. The idea here is super simple. All you need to do is just a tiny bit of outreach every single day instead of waiting until you're desperate, and I can guarantee you'll start seeing results almost immediately. You should keep this as simple as possible. Here's your rule. Every morning, you'll send 3 pitches, proposals, or messages to potential clients. It could be on Upwork, LinkedIn, Instagram, email, whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as you've sent 3 offers before you eat lunch. The most important thing you can do is making reaching out to potential clients a consistent part of your daily routine. If you only reach out to potential clients when you feel like it, what ends up happening is that you get into panic mode whenever work slows down, and that's just way too stressful. So having a daily habit of sending even 3 super small pitches keeps your pipeline warm. It helps you avoid those feast-famine cycles where you go from being overbooked to wondering how you're going to pay for your bills. Once you start getting opportunities consistently, it completely changes your mindset. You stop feeling desperate, and you can even start turning down clients or projects that aren't a good fit. You want to put yourself in a position where you can choose the best and not just have to accept whatever is there. So here's some of the best practical advice I got from the hundreds of freelancers I interviewed. First, decide when to do it. It doesn't really matter when, as long as you commit to it and actually do it consistently. I'd recommend doing it first thing in the morning though. Second, keep it simple. Your priority at first is not to make the best pitch the earth has ever seen. Open a random job board and apply to the 3 first gigs you see, or hop on your Instagram and DM 3 people, or you can even open LinkedIn and send 3 friendly messages to people working at some brands you like. Third, once you've done this a few times and you're getting comfortable with the process, you can start using some AI tools to either help you save time or send better pitches. Up to you. And lastly, remember that the magic lies in the consistency. It doesn't matter how fancy or perfect your pitches are, it matters that you're sending them daily. The goal here is to build an abundant pipeline. You want enough potential projects in your pipeline at all times that you're never stuck accepting a bad offer out of pure desperation. And it's huge psychologically. Knowing you always have fresh leads give you the confidence to negotiate better rates and to only take on projects that you're actually excited about. That's the real goal here. The second point is that sometimes wrong is right, or wrong is not always wrong, I guess. Most days you'll probably see job offers that make you go, that's close, but not quite for me. The project is interesting, but I'm missing some important skills. I've never done this sort of stuff before, so too bad, I guess? Well, no, not too bad. That's actually great news. Whoever posted that job is clearly working on something interesting in your industry. That's your signal to reach out. That's all the reason you need to reach out. Some of the best and most successful freelancers I met actually reach out to the wrong opportunities on purpose. What? The goal here is to expand your network in the most organic way possible. If somebody's hiring for any position on a project that overlaps with your field, they're in the middle of making something cool happen. Even if they don't need your exact skills right now, you're at least talking to the right kind of person, someone who might need you later or who knows somebody else who does. Plus, this has the added benefit of breaking that mindset of doubting yourself and asking if you're a good fit. Instead, you're building a habit of reaching out whenever you see a project that is interesting to you. And we all know that the best opportunities often come from your personal network, not random job ads on Fiverr. So what you're doing here is not actually trying to get the job, you're trying to grow your network. And the way you're doing it is simply by reaching out to people who are already clearly working on something interesting. All right, but how exactly do we do this? Well, let's say you're a videographer, but you see a post for a makeup artist on a film shoot. Reach out anyways, and hey, I noticed you're filming. Do you also need behind the scenes footage or editing service? Or if the ad is a whole package, for example, like design plus coding plus marketing, just message them and say, I specialize in design. If you need the other parts, I can team up with a friend or refer someone, but I'd love to handle your visuals. Even if they say no thanks, or just no, you've started a conversation. That's the real win here. The goal is to always be building relationships with the people behind those job posts. That's what matters. Tip number 3 is about activating the people you already know. Past clients, ex-colleagues, or even your family and friends who might need your services or can introduce you to someone who does. It's the easiest audience to start with, and for some reason, most people forget to do this. It's way easier to sell to a past or existing client than to convert a brand new client. That means that if somebody already knows knows you or has seen your work, they're way more likely to hire or refer you. I'm definitely not saying that you should start spamming your family group chat. So let me just give you some clear examples that you can copy and do right now in less than 5 minutes. Number one is to post a super short message on LinkedIn or Instagram stories, for example. Just keep it simple, keep it friendly. Just say that you still have some open slots available in the coming week and to DM you if you're interested. That's literally it. Sometimes people generally don't realize you have open slots, so you just gotta let them know. Number two, you can just nudge a dormant lead. Just send a short message to all those potential clients that ghosted you a few months ago and just say something like, hey, just checking in. Do you still need help with that project? You'll honestly be surprised how often they actually say yes. And think about it, if all it took you was 10 minutes of copy pasting the same message to 50 people and even just one of them replies, that's a nice and easy win. Why would you turn it down? Number three requires a little bit more effort, but you can and probably should reach out to local businesses around you, especially, for example, your local gym or cafe, since they might actually recognize you. Again, the trick is in keeping it simple. Just offer to redesign their menu or improve their social media, create some content for them, or whatever it is that you actually do. Often, they just don't realize they need your help until you point it out. The goal with this tip is simply to start using your network more. Why are you even trying to grow your network if you don't really do anything with it once you have it? The fourth tip is to go where others don't. If you start really asking other freelancers around you about how they get some of their best clients, you'll really be surprised at how random those stories can be. The lesson here is you need to go where others freelancers don't bother. And I just want to tell you about this photographer I know that got an amazing client in a crazy way. Basically, I'm building this AI tool to help freelancers find more clients more easily, right? So every day we scan the internet to find all the latest jobs and opportunities, no matter where they are. And then our AI curates a personalized list for each user, right? We're still building this tool and we're working with a team of early beta testers to improve it. So this photographer based in Berlin, Germany, she's testing it and our AI sent her a job offer that it found on eBay Kleinanzeigen, which is a worse version of eBay. It's really bad. And it's basically one of those buy, sell platforms, right? That is not where you would expect to find clients for a photography business. But she still reached out and actually got an amazing long-term client paying her over $1,000 per month for just a few hours of work. So yeah, go where others don't. And by the way, feel free to reach out if you're interested in joining our beta for the AI tool we're building. I'll drop a link in the description below. What you need to remember is that everybody knows about LinkedIn and Upwork, for example, which means you'll always be competing with a ton of other people. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of small spots which might have decent opportunities with a lot less competition. I often hear stories of freelancers landing massive projects because they were literally the only ones that applied to that weird ad in a tiny local forum, for example. Essentially, what you're doing is hunting for hidden gems, basically, and it's worth to set aside a few minutes per day to do this. By showing up where nobody else thinks to look, you're often the only game in town, and that can lead to easier negotiations, more flexible payments, and a grateful client who's like, wow, thank you so much for reaching out. I had no idea where to find freelancer like you, and that's a jackpot right there. Tip number 5 is to infiltrate niche communities around you, like Slack channels, Discord servers, Telegram groups, local co-working spaces, or specialized Facebook groups. What you need to realize is that most opportunities, especially the best ones, never even turn into a formal offer that gets published online. The best freelancers are pretty much the ones that are at the right place at the right time and able to get that job offer before anybody else even sees it. Just to give you an example, I've been a part of many different co-working spaces with very active Slack communities. So pretty much every day you would have somebody sending a message like, hey everyone, I need a graphic designer, video editor, copywriter, whatever it is for project XXX. Any recommendations? And if you've joined that community, now you can jump in and say, hey, I'm your guy or girl. Here's your step-by-step guide. Step 1, figure out where your ideal clients and where your potential collaborators hang out and just join those communities. If you want to work with tech startups, join those groups, co-working spaces, etc. If you're into wedding photography, look for wedding planning forums, vendor networks, or whatever else. And you can probably already join a bunch of these groups right now in less than 5 minutes. So don't make any excuses. Just watch the video until then and then join those groups. Step 2, that's actually it. Literally just look around, don't do anything special. And if you see something interesting in those channels, then, you can reach out. And then step 3 is only for those who want to take it to the next level. Remember, what you've joined is a community. So it's only right that you now start participating and becoming a part of this community. So you can time box it if you want, like just set aside 10 minutes per day where you can just comment on a few posts, ask questions, maybe even answer some questions. And if you're feeling adventurous, maybe you'll even post something. Literally just being in those communities is already huge. And then the next step is to become an active member, which gives you a massive advantage. Ultimately, you want to become the person people think of right away. So being visible and helpful in those groups will not only guarantee that you see gigs before they're official, but you'll also always be top of mind. I can already hear you complaining that you don't know what to post online. So you know what? Tip number 6 is perfect for you. Learn out loud. This is all about showcasing your work and process, not just a polished final portfolio. Whenever you're working on something, personal project or client work, it doesn't really matter. You should document the steps you take, share what worked, what didn't work, and what you learned from it. Again, remember to keep it simple. Don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. I'm definitely not asking you to be a teacher, to do tutorials online, or to do anything like that from a position of authority. You're just being a guide in a sense. Literally, the only thing you're saying is that, hey, this is what I was trying to do. This is what didn't work. This is how I did it and what I learned from it. And maybe it's useful for you too. That's it. It's also literally what I'm trying to do in this video right now. I already interviewed those 100 plus freelancers anyways from my startup's market research. I learned some interesting stuff and I'm here just sharing some of those things I heard from those freelancers. Maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. But clients don't just buy your end results. They buy your approach, your personality, your problem-solving style, etc., etc. And also, clients can't book you if they don't know you exist. So learning out loud is also just a great way to just create content online. If you share not just your highlight reel, but also the journey, people relate to you on a deeper level. Plus, your behind-the-scenes posts can also create conversations, not just with clients, but also with potential collaborators. It's kind of like networking, but at scale. You're doing exactly what you would probably do anyways if you met somebody interesting at an event, for example, but without having to go to that physical event. There are multiple levels on how to do this. Level 1, just post your finished work. You're probably already doing this. Great start. Better than nothing. Level 2, add quick behind the scenes. Show me your rough sketches, your lighting setup, or that failed attempts that didn't make it, for example. Most people do level 1 and sometimes a little bit of level 2 if you feel like it, let's say. And then we get to level 3, which is writing about your learnings. This is where it gets really interesting. For example, I spent 2 hours fighting with Premiere Pro to do something until I realized I should do X instead of Y. Great, that's a post. You don't have to do a super polished 20-minute YouTube video. You can do this on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, or whatever is easier for you. You can even post anonymously on like a small weird subreddit, for example, whatever works, literally. Again, don't worry about coming off as an authority or something and just frame it as, hey, I'm just sharing what I learned. If it helps anyone, awesome. If not, that's cool too. And then level 4 is even easier, to be honest. Just ask for advice. You're pretty much sharing the same exact post as before in level 3, except that this time you'll add a question at the end like, anyone else done that? Did anyone solve this differently? Or is there a better way, or anything else? You're just inviting people to share their experiences and to react to your posts. And wow, look at that. All of a sudden you're 1, talking to people, so basically growing your network, which is great, and 2, learning from others. Amazing. Basically, what you're doing is letting the world know you exist, and what you're saying is, I'm active, I'm growing, and I'm approachable. Basically, someone we'd all like to work with. And the last tip is to learn straight from the source. The idea is to reach out to someone who's a step or 2 ahead of you in your field and asking for advice or feedback. Why does this work, and why should you do this right now? Well, number 1, you'll get practical, real-world tips, and you will learn stuff you never even would have thought to search for online. Number 2, you're skipping hours of Google research by going straight to the person who's done what you want to do. They've done it already. No need to read 20 articles and watch 10 videos on the topic. Just ask them. Number 3, you're building your outreach muscle. Remember the first step we talked about? You need to constantly be reaching out and ask for what you want. It's uncomfortable at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And number 4, you're starting new conversations and expanding your network with people further ahead than you, which often could lead to more jobs and opportunities. This is really easy to do and takes under 5 minutes to do. Just find someone who landed a client you admire, or maybe someone whose style you like. Send them a short message asking for advice. Hey, love your project with X. Mind if I ask you how you secured that deal? Or how did you handle your first big budget job? Whatever the question is, keep it short and direct. Most people really appreciate being asked about the things they're good at, but most people are pretty lazy and don't want to have to write like a full essay to just get back to you. If they don't reply, then no big deal, honestly, just move on. By asking people further ahead than you for advice, you're basically accelerating accelerating your learning curve and building relationships at the same time. Instead of being stuck on your own, you get answers directly from people who've already done it. And sometimes these people might even send some gigs your way. Who knows? This is how you keep growing, both in skill and in network. All right, that's it. You could honestly do all 7 of these tips right now in under an hour. But the most important thing is that you keep doing them every day. It would take less than 30 minutes per day. It's not about how hard, how perfect, or how fancy your strategies are, but just how consistent you are. You could go crazy right now on sales and marketing for like 3 days straight. And yes, that's great, but it's not that useful if after that you're not going to do anything else again for like a month. It's better to do 10 minutes only, but every day consistently, rather than doing like big bursts of sales and marketing and then never again for long periods of time. Most of the time, the difference between the people who reach their goals and the ones who don't is in the simple actions they take every single day. So I encourage you to keep it simple, but start doing it right now and stick with it. In a couple of seconds, when this video ends, it's up to you to decide if you want to click on another video or spend the next 30 minutes moving forward with your career. Good luck and see you soon.